Hello and welcome to the Best Today podcast. I am your host, Shantae Grant, and today we're talking about something that's timely in the sense that we are still toward the top of 2022. It's February at the time that you will hear this. However, this message is applicable any time of the year. So I always like to say that when people start listening to something that might seem like it's seasonal, I don't record seasonal content. Every episode you can listen to and apply at any time of the year. So today, what I want to talk to you about is giving you an alternative to planning your year. And I'll tell you why I decided to come to this episode or to record this episode. It's because this wasn't on my original February roster of content to record, but we have received so many messages, whether it's in the community, DMs, email, text, from people saying, for some reason, feel the O word, as I call it. If you're new here, I call the word overwhelmed the O word, because even the word itself, when you say it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It has weight to it. So they've become the O word, thinking about, well, I have to make this whole plan for my whole year. And it just doesn't sit well with me after, learning the Best Today principles. And the reason it doesn't sit well with you right now, particularly when we're talking about planning for your life, for businesses, they have certain responsibilities and, metrics they have to hit. And so planning for a year from a business standpoint, it's not always the same, or it's not the same as when you're thinking about your life. I understand and even how we do business, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we don't say, oh, I don't know what we're doing in September, right? I have a rough idea of certain things, but I have learned from 2020, right? You got plans, and so does somebody else, right? So clearly I teach planning. I'm not saying just we're not living any kind of way. And I also teach intentionality. But I want to give you a better way, a better approach to think about the things that you want to accomplish and the things that you want to do. Okay. And it starts with just a conversation changer that I introduced my audience to, and I want to introduce you to it. I want you to start when you're talking about the things you're going to do, the things you want to do, the things you want to become. Start closer in time. I want you to speak in terms of today, not in terms of the year. Sometimes when people talk about what they're going to do in a year, like, this is the year I'm going to, that is giving you permission and space to procrastinate. There's this disconnect between what you say you want to do, because you have a whole year. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be an astronaut. I think this is the year I'm going to become an astronaut. You have time to decide, I am going to do that. I'm going to figure it out in about 3 months. So I figure it out tomorrow. There's this time to keep putting things off, right? But a year is made up of days. And if you waste those days, you're going to waste the year. And so, as our company name suggests, Best Today, we want to put more emphasis on today, on the present. So instead of planning for your year, what I want you to start thinking about is, how can you plan your current or your next or your first step? The first part, I think, is changing the conversation. So here's an example. Rather than saying, this year I'm going to, today I'm going to. That's going to be the thing. Today I'm going to. You see how much, even just saying today I'm going to, I feel ownership. I feel empowered. I feel responsible, right? To doing the thing I just said I'm going to do, because that today is today, right? This year I'm going to, okay, I got all the time in the world and I can change my mind, and you can change your mind, and I can, wibble wobble. It's just, it's like, in a sitcom, none come to mind, but like the guy who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to become that guy you want me to be. Sure I am. And it's kind of like, that puts it off for more time. Am I making sense, y'all? Let me get back to my notes. Some more of the conversation. So instead of saying, this is the year that I will, insert the thing that you say you will do this year. How about, today's the day that I will, right? Today's the day I'm going to, let's say, for instance, by the end of the year, you want to be able to run 1 mile. So you're saying, this is the year I'm actually going to train so that I can run a full mile without being winded, because that's something that you want to do, that matters to you, that feels like something you want to learn to do, and you think it will take X amount of time. Well, today is the day that I will get outside and walk for 30 minutes. Right? So now this is going to get us toward that thing that we want, but we're focusing on what can you do right now? And, rather than saying, oh, this year this is the year I'm finally going to this year do blah. Today is the day that I'm finally going to insert, this is a year I'm going to set boundaries. Okay, great. What are you going to do today? Today is the day that I actually define the times I'm available and the times I'm not. And there you go. Now you don't have to put it over in this year basket. We can put it in the today basket. Yeah, there we go. Right? So many of you are trying to put so many things in the year basket, and that's how you're spending your todays, talking about the year. And it's like, that's not going to add up when we get to the end of the year. Or that's not going to add up when we get to 6 months later or 3 months later or however much time. If all you're doing is talking about the future, what you've wasted the present. Okay? You feel ownership when you talk about the things you're going to do today. So even if you have something that you'd like to do by the end of the year, what does that look like broken down in steps, and focus on the right now present step? Because somewhere in the journey, you may change your mind. You may find out that's not what you want. You may discover a better way of doing anything. And so here's the first nugget I want you to pick. Actually, I've already dropped some, but I don't want you to become glued or permanently affixed to the outcome. I want you to become committed to the process, starting with the current or next step. I'm going to say that again. The danger and the thing I see continuously happen, which leads to letdown, and then you beat yourself up and it becomes this ridiculous cycle, unhealthy cycle, is you set these things at the beginning of the year that sound grand and great and big and impressive and fancy and all this, and it doesn't happen. It's because you've become glued or permanently affixed on, like, oh, this is the thing. You're thinking about the end goal. You're thinking about that finish line. And that is what becomes glorified, as opposed to being committed to the process, which is right now. What's the current step or the next step? So don't become so permanently affixed to the outcome. Instead, what I want you to become is committed to the process, which starts right now. And actually an episode I'm going to link in the show notes. Episode 24 comes to mind, The Truth About Planning, where I talk about the best part of planning isn't even hitting the thing at the end of the plan. It's the process. It's who you become in the journey. Also, I'm going to link in the show notes episode 47, where we talk about the power of small steps. Okay. So both of those will be linked in today's show notes at besttodayguide.com/49, or wherever you're listening right now. Just go back 2 episodes and that'll take you to 47, and then go back to 24. Those are 2 great episodes to flag and go back to listen to, even if you've listened to them before. So yes, it is okay to take a small amount of time to think about what you'd like to accomplish within a year, or and really, we're not even talking about a year, any extended period of time, a quarter, a half year, 6 months, whatever. I think that you can take a small amount of time to determine what it is you want to accomplish internally and externally. The things you want to see happen within yourself, growth, and external things you'd like to do. But that is 1% max of the 99 of the time. 99% is the today, right? 1% of your time. And I talk about this, I know I've taught this somewhere. I've talked about this stuff so much and speak so many places. I know I see a visual that I've created talking about this. Maybe it's in Plans Be Done. I can't remember, but essentially, yeah, I think it is in Plans Be Done. It's 1%, right? 1% of the time is that, okay, here it is. Because we want to understand where we're going. But then I can't just focus on looking all the way down the road to the end. I have to now head down. Let's do the thing. 1% is the thinking about what you're going to do in whatever amount of time. And then the 99% is, what are you going to do today? What are the small steps you will take that when you get to the end of the year, you're like, whoa, all these small steps added up into all these things, or into this one thing. Because it doesn't have to be, this isn't a quantity race. It's substance, right? I know for me, in the top of our year meeting at Best Today, we reviewed as a team all that we accomplished in 2021. And as I was making that list for the meeting, because I make the agenda for our meetings when we're reviewing either the year or past quarter, and I was making this list of everything we accomplished in 2021, and solely by looking at our each quarter. Each quarter we have our list. So I'm looking at 4 documents: quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, 2021. And even though I experienced everything on that list, my mind was blown by how much we accomplished. However, and yet and still, this is important. This is the important part I need you to get. At no time, not at any time during 2021, were we ever working on more than 3 things. And usually, even if we had 3 things like listed for a quarter, it was one thing at a time. It adds up over the span of a year. And we were never the O word or thinking about what we had to do in September and March. We weren't thinking about that. We let January be January, February be February, and on, right? Let today be today. And when you get to the end of the year, it will speak for itself. I'm going to say that again. Let today be today. And when you get to the end of the year or the end of any span of time, when we get to the end of our lives, right? When we get to the end of insert a season, it will speak for itself. If you honor today, it will honor you tomorrow. Oh, I just, that's not even in my notes. Write that down. I'm writing that down because it wasn't in my notes. It just came out my mouth, y'all. If you honor today, I don't even know what I said. It will honor you tomorrow. And that's so true. And the tomorrow can be at the end of your life, at the end of a season, at the end of a year, at the end of an experience. If you honor today, it will honor you tomorrow. Oh, that's good. Write that down. Trademark. At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
Hi, Shantae. This is Emmy from Japan. For the longest time, the word proactive was a word so foreign to me that I basically made excuses that I just wasn't that kind of person. Enter the Best Today guide and community. And slowly, the word proactive is infiltrating into my daily mindset. The progress is slow, but seeing where I was a year ago, the fact that I preview my week and day now is a mind-blowing change in scenery. Also, the Plans Be Done workshop was the best purchase I made this year, and the knowledge I gained has helped me take action after my planning. The Best Today community has especially helped me believe that there is a better way and that it's possible to change. Having a place to ask questions, to learn from each other, share struggles, celebrate, and encourage has been a gift this year. It's wonderful to know these women on a first name basis. And as another member put it, we're like family.
Emmy, you are a delight and a joy. Thank you so much for leaving that message. It means so much to me. I'm actually choking up. I've heard it 3 or 4 times before sitting down to record this response. And it just really is so meaningful for so many reasons. As she shared, she lives in Japan, and for our first focus call at the top of the year in our community, it was just such a delight and a joy to see her face show up, because I think it was about 3 a.m. her time when we were having that, which is 1 p.m. Eastern or 1:30 Eastern. And it's just so meaningful to hear how so many women are sticking with Best Today and trusting the process and reaping the rewards and eating the fruit of that. You know, a lot of what we teach is so countercultural, so different from what you've been infiltrated with and ingrained in and living in this world, and just so much that to see people coming in and believe enough in themselves and the promise of life better, and then sticking with it, and now saying, you know, proactive was something that I didn't even think could be mine, and now it is seeping into, you know, who I am. It just means so much. And I hope that every person listening here who has not allowed yourself to be embraced by Best Today and the principles we teach and the products that we create and the fantastic digital online community that we have created that feels truly like home for so many people and like friendship and like family, I want to invite you right now. Everything that we have to offer you, you can find at besttodayguide.com, whether it is the community, which you can, it's linked directly on our website, or you can go to besttodaycommunity.com to join this family, this community that meets together and knows each other by name and by face, because we meet so much on Zoom. You can get the Best Today guide if you want to, if you're ready to really be all in and learning how to be proactive, or any of our other resources that we've created that breaks down the Best Today guide, whether that's today's one thing, whether that's the morning and routine, whether that's just learning how to start with previewing your week with our preview pads. Or I love that she mentioned Plants Be Done, which I know for so many of you was the best thing you purchased last year from Best Today. That program will really teach you how to plan and execute. You can learn more about that at besttodayguide.com or going to Plans Be Done. But again, everything that we've mentioned is linked in today's show notes at besttodayguide.com/49. And I just want to say thank you so much, Emmy, for sharing, for being who you are, and for allowing us to get to know you by being a member of this community. Again, everything we've talked about today will be linked in the show notes, besttodayguide.com/49. And all of our resources are available to you right now at besttodayguide.com. Thanks again, Emmy. I cracked myself up. Okay, let's keep talking, y'all. Can you tell when I get off notes? It is hilarious. Okay. But like I was saying, that really was an eye opener. I mean, it's just amazing when the things that I teach, I keep seeing it work in my life and my business and the life of my customers. It's not a surprise. It's like, yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. But it's just continues to, for me, it's like, it's the fuel to keep going and keep evangelizing these principles that we teach, because it works so much. And I know there are so many people who are struggling, and it's like, here is a solution for you. Stop looking at December. It's February. Look at February. Insert today's date, or look at whatever day it is for you. Look at the calendar. Look at that date. It's today. I need you to narrow your focus, take that wide lens off, because you see everybody and their cousin talking about new year, new you, new year, same you, new year, that just today. The next time you see anything that says year, I want you to just be like, today. Matter of fact, next year, or in December 31st, I want you to say happy new today. We're just going to get the word year out of our mouth for a minute until we can be responsible with it. Right. So it's like, today, y'all, the power is in today. Honor today and it will honor you tomorrow. I promise you that. It adds up. And that was just, I remember when I saw that, as I was looking at this list of things we've accomplished, it was just like, and we've accomplished it with a small team, and a small team where we don't work 9 to 5 on any day of the week. So I want you to understand that it's very possible. It is extremely possible. And maybe if I can get you to believe that, you'll try it, and then you'll see. And don't try it just for one day, right? It really does add up. And it's okay to take a small amount of time. I will say again, to think about the big thing and what that looks like, and whatever that big time frame is. But then we got to break it down and make it small. Okay. So I want to invite you to try this new way of thinking and planning, and watch the pressure you relieve from your life, and watch how you actually begin to move and take action. Right. So 4 things for you I want you to remember from today that we talked about. While you don't have to plan an entire year, here's what you can do instead. Number 1, do your big picture thinking. I love big picture thinking. I love to dream. I have big picture thinking for like my whole life, for my whole business, like big dreams, like big, massive, like if anything were possible, here's what I would want to do. I love having time to do that. I think we all need time to dream and write and do it in a way where you don't become the restriction and say, well, how am I going to do that? That doesn't seem possible. I don't have the blah, blah, blah for that. No, just dream. It's so freeing. It's so important, and it will empower you, and you'll be surprised because you'll probably exceed some of those things you write, right? So number 1 is, yes, big picture, think and dream. Write it down. Get it all out of your head. And then we're going to say, okay, here's what's next. Here's the one thing that's coming up next. And this could be something that you want to do in however long time a span. But now, that's that little 1% of time we do. Boop, boop, boop. What we not going to do is work on 62 things all at once. As much as possible, I want you working on one thing at a time, one thing that's important to you at a time, as much as possible. Okay. And knock that one down and pick up the next one. So we've got our big picture thinking. We've gave that a small amount of time and boom, here we are. It's today. We're thinking about today and we're thinking about the most important thing. Number 3, we're going to focus on today. What is the current or next step? Lay one brick at a time, one brick at a time. And 3, I want you to watch your language. And not 3, 4. 1, big picture thinking, right? Give yourself the space for that. I don't want you to think that this episode or that I'm teaching, we have to know what the big picture is so we know what the little steps are, right? You have to see when you get the IKEA furniture, you got to see what it looks like at the end. So you can, as you start building, it helps you know, okay, this is where the leg goes, right? If you don't see what the big picture is, you have no idea what you're building and you're just putting things in places in it. And you're like, I don't know. Can we sit in this? What is it? Right? So you do need the big picture, but that's like small amount of time. What we're really going to be doing, like today, if I run into you, you're not going to be your head in the clouds and you're not going to be telling me about all the big stuff. You're going to tell me, oh, here's today. Okay. We're also not, number 2 is we're not going to try to work on 62 things all at once. We're going to work on one thing or as little as possible at a time. Okay. And number 3, we're going to focus on today, on the current step or the next step, one brick at a time. And number 4, you're going to watch your language. Today I will. Not this year or this month or this quarter I'm going to. Today. Because today is the only day you can actually do something about. And the thing is, doing something about today is naturally going to affect tomorrow. So I want to invite you again we're just going to take the word year out of our mouths for a while because it's messing us up. It's got y'all out here stressed and overwhelmed and focusing on the wrong thing. Okay. Now I want to continue this conversation as always. And so my favorite place to hang out is the Best Today community. It's our digital community. If you're not in it, let's change that today. Go on right now while you're listening, pick up your phone, pick up your iPad, open your computer, or even while you're listening to me, wherever you're listening to me at, open a webpage, go to besttodaycommunity.com and click on subscribe. Join us. It's that simple. If you want to get in for free, because I got the hookup for you, order your Best Today guide and you get your very first month free. Now, inside of this community, we have fantastic conversations. If you think the conversations on the podcast are something, it's lit in the community, right? And if you don't know what that means, that's a good thing. It means we have a good time. We have great conversation. There's accountability. There's the place to come and ask your question without feeling like I shouldn't ask this question. There is no I shouldn't ask this question. People come in there to share their wins, their hardships, when they fall, when they've made a mistake, when they've fell off the wagon, all these things. You have a supportive community of people who understand because we're all in the race together. There is no shame. There is no guilt. There are also no pity parties. We are there to encourage and uplift. We have community, like true community. We meet every single week almost. I think actually every single week in some form or fashion. You can choose which calls are best for you. We have our top of the month call, our focus first call every single month. We come together and just regroup for the month. We have co-working hours most Thursdays. We have private workshops that I only teach in the community. All of this, y'all, all of this is waiting for you on the other side of besttodaycommunity.com. So join us today. You get to use it online. We have an app for Android, Apple phone, so you can join us on the app. You can join us online. It's all interconnected and it's fantastic. And we want to see you join us at besttodaycommunity.com. All right, let's go back in there and let's talk about these things that we're doing today. And I'm so excited to chat with y'all. I mentioned at the top of the episode that you also could text us, that we got some questions via text. If you're not on our text squad and would like to receive texts about updates from Best Today, you can just text 404-737-1002. That will get you on our text squad. You can text the word you can text I heard you on the podcast, or just text join. There's no special thing you need to do. Just text us anything, an emoji. Or I always love knowing where you came from. So maybe just let me know, hey, I found you from listening to episode X. But text us 404-737-1002. Thank you so much for being present with me for this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. Until next time, remember that you are capable and worthy of being your best one today at a time. And you already have everything you need to have everything you want. So go on and shout it out as you live it out. This is what my best today looks like. I'll talk to you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today Guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today Guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, "This is what my best today looks like."